Alright, next we have our Chapter 4 Season 1 themed map. Pretty cool. We do have some returning POIs. We have Shattered Slabs up in the top middle, kind of, I guess you could say. We have Anvil Square returning, obviously. Kind of like the Tilted Towers of Chapter 4, so gotta throw that in here. We have Slappy Shores. I personally think Slappy Shores is a little bit underrated, I just feel like it's a really good POI, and I wish that more people appreciated it, because I don't think it gets enough appreciation, you know what I'm saying? And then for our final returning POI, we have Faulty Splits. This perfectly represents what Chapter 4 Season 1's map kind of was. It's kind of split between like the modern grasslands and the medieval autumn biome, right? So obviously you had to have Faulty Splits in here. We do have Loot Lake, not L-O-O-T, but L-U-T-E, which was actually a landmark name on the Chapter 4 map, but I decided to kind of bring that over as like a fully fledged out POI on this real map, because I think it would fit. And then we have Fracture Fields, kind of like a reimagined version of Frenzy Fields. I believe it was Frenzy Fields. It could be something else, but I'm pretty sure it was Frenzy Fields. Kind of like that POI, but more reimagined and better fit for reload, right? And then we have the Little Citadel. Kind of sort of like Little Loot Lake from the Venture map, but this time instead of Loot Lake, it's the Citadel. And, I think it fits, having a little mini version of the Citadel. Always a nice kind of addition to this map, And then in the middle, we actually have an original POI here. We don't have a returning POI as most real maps have. We have Kinetic Kingdom, obviously based off the Kinetic War. This would be like a medieval kind of castle POI, obviously. And I think it would be fun. I think this map would be pretty fun. A lot of people probably don't really care for a Chapter 4 real map, but I feel like if we actually got one, people would be pretty fond of it, because Chapter 4 has, although I wouldn't say it's like the best chapter, I'd say it's kind of like the middle of the road when it comes to the Fortnite chapters and like how I would rank them. I think its map is like really good, like aesthetically, even if I think that there was a bit too much yellow, I think the Chapter 4 map was very well done aesthetically, even if I do think it kind of got ugly near the end, but that's besides the point. I think this would be a fun real map, and if it actually came out, I feel like people would appreciate Chapter 4 a bit more than they do, So I think it'd be fun. I think it would be fun to have a map like this.